Alright guys, I'm braving the elements out here in the frozen tundra of Houston because we are going to experience freezing temperatures, hard freeze, over the next couple of nights. And back in February of 2011 I learned a $200 expensive lesson that you have to take care of your backflow preventer valve on your sprinkler system if you're a homeowner and if you have a sprinkler system. Because in a freeze, this can happen. So in the freeze of February of 2011, it got down to 21 degrees, and this is your backflow preventer unit. And I know I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't, but this thing cracked. This is, I think, made out of brass or something. It cracked. It cost me about $200, and that's not good. So I'm going to try to winterize the system, and if you follow these instructions, it'll help prevent, hopefully, any damage to your system. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to shut off this water, we're going to drain the water out of the valve, and that way what happens in a freeze is that the water in here expands, this thing pops off the top, you'll get a gusher, you'll lose hundreds of gallons of water, but you'll also have to replace this, and plumber will be happy because he'll charge you about 200 bucks. So let's start. If you have, a lot of the newer systems will have a valve that shuts off the water that goes into the whole unit, and mine happens to be down here on the ground, and it's kind of yucky to get to, but I'm going to reach down in there and just shut that. Okay, so now the water is no longer flowing into the system at all. Alright, now the tricky part is we want to get the water out of here without making too much of a mess, and this is a valve here that will do the trick. So now I've shut off the water to all of this, and my goal is to see that none of the water is left in here. So I'm going to unscrew this. Now if you have an older system that doesn't have that shut-off valve, then what you're going to do is come over here and shut this off. Take two. As an aside here, in a lot of the tutorials I've seen online, what they want you to do is just shut this one off and open this valve to spray the water out. But I'm going to tell you something. I did that last time. I did that in February 2011, and the thing still froze and still cost me $200. And the reason I think that happened is that I didn't shut off the main valve that goes into this. So there was still water here, and even when you close this, and I'm going to have to use pliers to do that, there's still water here, and this is part of what made this system crack. So I'm doing an experiment this year where I've shut off from the main valve so there's no water flowing in here anymore. And now, what I'm going to do now is open this valve. So I'm going to open this, and probably a lot of water is going to spray out. And nothing. Fantastic. Well, that was interesting. Probably since the sprinklers haven't run actually for a month or so. So anyway, now I'm going to close this valve. Okay. Oh, man, that thing, I had to muscle that. So anyway, so now I have the water flowing into the system shut off. I've opened up the valve, which again, if you don't have a system, if you don't have a shut-off valve before this, you gotta close this before you open that. Otherwise, it's going to spray all over the place. So close this. This is open. So I've drained as much water as I can out of this. There also is one here that I'm also going to go ahead and try to bleed the water out of that if there is any. So let's find out. Hopefully I don't get sprayed because it's cold. Oh, there we go. Yeah. See, that water's really coming out now. That's good. That's good, good, good. That makes me happy. Very happy. So that's relieved as much of the pressure in here as possible and drained as much of the water as possible out of here. So, I'm by no means an expert at this. I've done it a couple of times, and hopefully it works this time, but bottom line is if you don't do anything to take care of your sprinkler system, if our temperatures do get down to 20, 22, 23 or something like that, you could end up with an expensive repair. Use this as one, tutorial. You can search on YouTube and look for other ones because, like I said, I'm not a plumber, but hopefully it helps save you some money from your Gulf Coast Weather Authority.